First of all,
these were the remarks that created the latest firestorm between the two capitals. President Biden speaking in an exclusive interview with ABC News' George Stephanopoulos.
He will pay a price. We had a long talk, he and I. I know him relatively well. And the conversation started off, I said, I know you and you know me. If I establish this occurred, then be prepared.
You said you know he doesn't have a soul.
Well, I did say that to him, yes. And his response was, we understand one another.
You think he's a killer?
I do.
Biden's remarks followed the release of an intelligence report that concluded that the Russian leader directed an interference campaign into the 2020 presidential election in favor of former President Donald Trump. The report from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence accuses Moscow of seeking to push influence narratives, including misleading and unsubstantiated claims against then-candidate Biden. US intelligence also, of course, concluded that Russia sought to meddle in the 2016 election through cyber attacks and hacking, a claim Moscow vehemently denies. This was the Russian president responding to Biden's killer claims earlier Thursday.
I remember in my childhood when we argued in the courtyard and used to say, it takes one to know one. And that's not a coincidence, not just a children's saying or joke, it has deep psychological meaning. We always see our own traits in other people and think they are like how we really are. And as a result, we assess a person's activities and give assessments.
Washington-Moscow ties have been particularly strained after Russia seized Crimea from Ukraine in 2014 and the alleged election meddling of 2016.
When you are judging other people or when you are judging other states, other peoples, we always are kind of looking in a mirror. We always see ourselves. We are always projecting what is of importance to us, what is our essence on other people.
Russia's envoy to Washington, Anatoly Antonov, has been summoned to Moscow to prevent an irreversible deterioration, at least according to their foreign ministry, an issue raised with the White House.
We've certainly seen those reports. I would say that our administration is going to take a different approach in our relationship to Russia than the prior administration. Obviously, the president spoke to this during an interview that he conducted just last night. And we are going to be straightforward, and we are going to be direct in areas where we have concerns.
The US also earlier this month tightening sanctions against Russia over their conclusions that Moscow poisoned opposition politician Alexei Navalny, who has since been jailed in Russia. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.
All right, we speak now to Sherwin Bryce-Pease from New York to continue this. So, Sherwin, this back and forth between Moscow and Washington, it's been precipitated by the release of a new declassified U.S. intelligence report. What exactly does that report say?
Yeah, different year, it's a piece of similar circumstances, right? This is a report from the Director of National Intelligence. Essentially, this is a White House appointed director that oversees all the intelligence agencies within the United States. And what they have concluded is the following. I'll just read a little bit from that report. We assessed that Russian President Putin authorized and a range of Russian government organizations conducted influence operations aimed at denigrating President Biden's candidacy and the Democratic Party, supporting former President Trump, undermining public confidence in the electoral process, and exacerbating social political divisions in the US. Unlike 2016, we did not see persistent Russian cyber efforts to gain access to election infrastructure. We have high confidence in our assessment, and that is intelligence speak for we believe this to be true. Of course, Russian officials vehemently deny the 2016 aspersions and the 2020 claims in terms of election interference. Dmitry Peskov is a Kremlin spokesperson. This is how he responded.
We disagree with the results of this report on our country. Russia did not meddle in the previous election and in the 2020 election mentioned in this report. Russia has no relation whatsoever to any campaigns against any of the candidates. In this regard, we consider this report wrong. It is absolutely groundless and presents no evidence. Such a policy line harms the Russia-US relations, which are already ill. And such a policy does not inspire any political will for the normalization of these relations. We are forced to take all of the necessary measures to hedge the possible sanction risks and give maximum protection to our country's interests.
So, Tsepiso, Russians taking this as a personal insult at their president, Vladimir Putin. Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, in her press briefing earlier today was asked whether the President Biden regretted using the killer words directed at Vladimir Putin. She said he had no regrets. He gave a direct answer to a direct question. There was a follow-up from a journalist, Tsepiso, that said asked whether President Biden then, based on that argument, felt that Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, was also a killer. Jen Psaki saying, "I don't think I have to add any more killer names from the podium today," Tsepiso.
So, Sherwin, these latest developments, have they dashed any hopes that there might have been some sort of recalibration of relations between Washington and Moscow under the new administration of President Biden?
Yeah, remember what the context is here, right? So, 2016, the intelligence community in the United States concluding that Russia meddled through hacking and cyber attacks in that election to help President Trump win the presidency. So Democrats are upset that Hillary Clinton didn't win in 2016. Fast forward to 2020, you have new revelations coming out of the intelligence community, and it is, to a certain extent, dashing hopes of what could have been a recalibrated relationship between the two global powers. Certainly, there was hope on the 26th of January, a conversation between Biden and Putin resulting in them extending the New START treaty for 5 years. This is essentially a pact between the two nuclear powers to reduce nuclear weapons in the world. So that sentiment now seems that momentum appears now to have been lost. This is a question that was put to Jen Psaki. This is how she responded.
As you know, there is an ongoing review, and the president has, we have announced key conclusions from an intelligence community assessment on the poisoning of Alexei Navalny. There's an ongoing review of other areas where we have ongoing concerns. At the same time, we have areas where we believe we can work together. Obviously, the signing of New START is an example of that. Addressing nuclear proliferation is an example of that, and we hope that there is opportunity there. But our relationship will look different. We will be direct. We will speak out on areas where we have concerns, and it will certainly be, and as the president said last night, certainly the Russians will be held accountable for the actions that they have taken. We'll have more on that soon.
The Biden White House, Tsepiso, of course, on the record is saying they will speak more in terms of questions of human rights. We saw that on the Jamal Khashoggi killing and the declassification of their intelligence report, pointing a finger at Mohammed bin Salman. Similar rhetoric coming out of the White House today.
I mean, showing all of this intrigue is almost like watching a suspense thriller. In responding to Biden's killer comments, President Putin wished Biden well, saying, I quote, "I wish you health, I wish you health." So he says that without irony or joking. That's according to the official transcript, I believe. But some say it's a veiled threat. Others not so much. How's that playing out in the U.S.?
Tsepiso, what did the former KGB intelligence officer really mean, right? That's the big question. And of course, some are drawing parallels to Russian attempts at poisoning various opposition figures, be that in Salisbury in the United Kingdom, or the most recent allegation of an alleged poisoning against opposition leader Alexei Navalny, who is in prison in Russia. But another reading of this is that the President Putin was just merely taking a dig at very old President Biden. He's 78 years old. He's the oldest person elected to the presidency in the United States history. So maybe this was just a little bit of ageism coming out of Moscow today.
As they say, watch this space show. We certainly will be watching it with you. Thank you so much, SABC News correspondent out in New York, Sherwin Bryce-Pease. Well, that's how we come to the end of